Here's the thing, it doesn't seem like a big change maybe from yesterday to today. Everybody kind of knew that Mitt Romney was cruising toward the nomination, and that it would be either sooner or later that Rick Santorum would have to sort of bow to the inevitable. It happens to have been sooner. But in fact, it changes the world quite a lot for Mitt Romney. You go overnight from being a candidate who's still sort of tied to a primary process to one who's totally liberated from it. That means, first and foremost, you can start raising money in a much different way. You are no longer asking Republicans to contribute money to you so that you can help defeat other Republicans, but asking Republicans to contribute money to you so you can defeat a Democratic president. That opens up lots of possibilities, also opens up the possibility and the reality for the Romney campaign of cooperating more with the Republican National Committee, which no longer has to pretend that it's neutral in the primary, to raise big money, because the parties can raise bigger money than individual candidates. It also means you can start thinking about where you want to spend your time, and every campaign will tell you the most important asset a campaign has is the candidate's time. You don't have to sort of spend your time in New York State, for example, nearly as much just because it happens to have a primary, even though you know you're going to lose that state in the general. Maybe you can start thinking about getting to Ohio or Florida or Colorado a little bit more, so you can recalibrate your travel schedule. And I think the third and final thing you do is you really have to staff up. I mean, running a primary is one thing. Running a general election campaign is a big enterprise. And every general election campaign starts with a small primary operation, but it has to get very big and very fast without getting overgrown and losing its discipline. And that's one of the things I'm sure the Romney people are talking about amongst themselves today.
Now, do we see a shift in the message coming from the Romney camp at this stage? Because one of the things we know about a general election is that you try to win the swing voter, which is in the middle.
Well, you've started to see that switch. I think they started to make a couple of weeks ago when Mitt Romney essentially stopped talking about other Republicans and started talking only about President Obama. But Simon, the real manifestation of that I think you're seeing today, and there's a lot of back and forth in the political world about it, is that what the Romney campaign wants first and foremost in this new mode, in the message terms, is to start talking more about women, to address what they perceive and others perceive as a big problem, which is the gender gap advantage among women voters that President Obama enjoys. They've got to get that whittled down, and so they're looking for excuses to talk about and to women, presumably about issues they think that are more important to women. Today, that's morphed into a conversation that's not necessarily going the way the Romney campaign hoped about pay equity and the Lilly Ledbetter Act, but nonetheless, it shows you that this is a subject of the many that they need to tick off. This subject is one that they want to get to right away.
Do you think foreign policy is going to become a big issue for both, for Mitt Romney as he gets into this campaign?
Well, I do think probably more than people realize, and I think the Romney campaign also signaled this in message terms over the last month or so, which he does want to talk about foreign policy. He does want to say essentially that the president's foreign policy has been somewhat fickle to its friends and a little unsteady. It's kind of a surprise because a lot of us, I think, include myself in this category, thought a couple of months ago that the fact that Osama bin Laden was dead, the drone attacks on militants in the Pakistan-Afghan border have been so numerous and so effective, and exiting from Iraq was such a popular thing, that maybe President Obama had neutralized the whole national security question. But I don't think that's the view in Romney land. I think they can make statements about sticking in there in Afghanistan and about being tougher on China and tougher even on Russia in some cases and make some mileage out of that. So I do think it's going to be a bigger issue than some of us may have thought a month or so ago.